Hello and welcome back to my channel. So long time no see, I guess, at least in this kind of format, you know, kind of sitting down talking to the camera. Yeah, a lot's been going on. So a little story for you all. So this week I was actually trying to get back onto my CBT stuff, you know, kind of the schedule and stuff that I have after a rough couple of weeks. I was going to be recording a Minecraft video this Saturday because that was just where it was on my schedule, and it was going to be a Minecraft one because I've got a lot to talk about. So yeah, I was going to try and do that just to kind of rattle through a load of stuff that's happened over the last month or so. But then on Monday, Thorpe Park decided to release this.
From epic new heights, come petrifying new lows. Welcome to the home of fear. Welcome to Fright Nights. Book now at thorpark.com.
So yeah, they decided to drop their Fright Nights kind of teaser, and I thought because I'm not really going to be able to do Fright Nights this year, it's very unlikely, I'm like 99% sure I'm not going to be able to do Fright Nights this year. I thought I probably won't cover it on the channel. I might give my thoughts in maybe like a Minecraft video, Power Wash one, but I won't do like full kind of videos analysing like I did last year. I might do reactions to some of the teasers, I'm not sure, but yeah, I probably won't be doing like a lot with them. I'll definitely still watch them and still probably comment at some point on the channel, but I won't do videos dedicated to them. And so I thought, oh, the Scarefest one's probably going to be shortly after, but I thought maybe like a few weeks after, so it would give me like a few weeks to, you know, prepare and stuff. And even with Thorpe Park Fright Nights, they announced the lineup and stuff as the main three are coming back from last year: trailers, survival games, and Stitches, plus a new maze, plus something else which I really like that they're doing as well. I'll just get it up. So this is on the Fright Nights page. As you see, here's the mazes that are returning. You got new maze for 2024. Honestly, I feel like survival games I would like to go. Trailers, I feel unless they were actually going to change the rooms in it, you know, change the trailers that are in it, it's kind of pointless keeping that. Stitches, I would like to give another go one day. Probably won't be this year, but maybe next year. It'd be nice if it stayed. Sometimes I could give it another couple of goes. It is a bit weird though that the maze tickets, you either have the Fearsome Four or the Terrifying Trio, which suggests to me that the new maze might be something like a little bit more extreme or some form of difference, like with Panic last year at Scarefest. Because that's such a different thing. It's not. It's kind of more extreme, kind of not. But the point is, because of it being like free roam, because you got like the whole thing, we have to find the symbols. That was kind of a separate thing. So if you didn't want to do it with the main kind of lineup, you could book that separately. I'm thinking this is kind of a similar thing where it's like, if you don't want to do this fourth maze because maybe it's a bit more extreme or something, then yeah, you can book it with the 4 package or just separately. I don't know. I believe the image is from Beyond the Chair from trailers, so it's not giving anything away yet. But one really good thing, if I can find it on the website, here we go, I found it. So it's this Frequent Fears Pass, which I'd heard rumours about possibly Scarefest getting, and I really hope it does. But essentially, it's a bit of a shame that it's 100 passes available, but it's essentially that you pay 99 quid and you can do the mazes as much as you want across the season, which I think if you're going for multiple days, that's really great value. The only thing is it's unlimited access between certain times. You either get, I believe, from 3 till 7 and then 5 till 9. So you get like either a kind of like an afternoon one or an evening one. I just prefer it if Towers do this, which I really hope they do because I'll be going multiple times to Scarefest, and I'd definitely get something like this. But if they do, for one thing, don't limit it to 100. Like, don't, please. But then also, I wouldn't do it for like one for the afternoon, one for the evening. I'd just do one where it's just like, I wouldn't even mind paying a little bit more just to be able to do unlimited mazes throughout the entire event. Like, that would be really helpful. It means I could be really flexible with it and just do it all in one payment. Like, that's a really cool idea. So yeah, that's really my whole thing on Fright Nights. But anyway, so Thorpe Park, you know, that was a big tangent, but Thorpe Park announced all this stuff, and so I thought, oh, you know, Scarefest might announce there soon. I thought maybe at some point in August I might have a few weeks, so I'll get ready. I'll, you know, make sure after the Minecraft video to do a Scarefest Speculation video, because I've always wanted to do one, but I'm normally like, by the time I'm actually getting round to reacting to the lineup, it's been like months after the lineup was announced, so because I normally have a backlog. So this year I thought, hey, I've got no backlog, I can do a speculation video before they make an announcement. But then Alton Towers decided to upload this to their Instagram, which, god damn it, Towers. So yeah, I saw this, I believe it was yesterday that it was uploaded, and I was like, you know, oh, it means there could be something any day now that gets announced. I bet you after I've recorded this video, there's going to be something announced this evening or later in the week or something like that. So if there is, I'll probably tag that onto the end of this video. But yeah, it essentially prompted me to, you know, do this speculation video, because otherwise I'm gonna run out of time doing it again. So this will be a fun video to do. I'll just check as well, because on this, so as you can see, it's like a pumpkin, ghost, roller coaster, probably the roller coaster representing like Rides in the Dark or something, I don't know. But then there's a link here, and that links to the Scarefest website. Now I don't think there was much updated on it when I checked yesterday, but I'll just check now just to see if there's anything new updated on it. Right, yeah, so there's nothing new updated. It does tell you the date, so 11th of October to the 3rd of November. It is interesting that it's the 11th of October, because I believe that's not the first weekend in October. Normally it's the first weekend they do, then there's like kind of a week off, and then they do the, from that weekend to, essentially it's kind of like first weekend in October, week off, and then they continue doing it through the rest of the year, up to 3rd of November as well, which is very exciting. I'll probably be there opening Saturday, I'm hoping. Scare Amazing, obviously, I've got to do, and hopefully on Halloween. It really just depends on how much I have around that time, and probably try and go and see Chloe at some point in Altonville if she manages to get in. Had to do an obligatory Chloe reference in this, clearly. Hello. There's not really too much new info on this, just that Scarefest returns for 2024, and you can put in your email to get notified the moment something comes out. But I bet you I might have people messaging me saying, spoilers, it's just been announced. That means I can try and get a reaction. I think most of these are just like clips in the background that you can see that have already been filmed in previous years. I've seen that there's been some photos taken, which I believe are new photos for this year. Like there was one of one of the actors who played one of the cheerleaders from Altonville. I believe it was on one of the casting kind of posts that the entertainments do, and one of them was of one of these cheerleaders, but it seemed like a new photo. So they're actually taking new photos and stuff. And I mean, from what we're probably going to discuss today, there is so much new stuff that they're doing. They seem to be putting a lot more effort this year. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about it throughout this video and speculate stuff. Now, the problem is, as I teased a lot last year, there are certain sources and contacts that I have, which means there are certain things that I might know. And obviously, I don't want to confirm anything on here. I don't want to kind of go over things with people who might actually know what they're talking about. And obviously, I don't want to, you know, kind of reveal who those people are either. So I'm kind of going to have to do like a Jack Silkstone in a way, where because he now works for Thorpe Park, specifically on Fright Nights a lot as well, he kind of has to sort of fake speculate in a way, because he, you know, because he's working on it, he already knows a lot of the answers. Now, for me, I don't actually work on Scarefest, wish I could. So I don't know specifically what's happening, but last year there were things that I did know, there were things that I did see. This year, they seem to be keeping a lid on a lot of what's going on, so I've been hearing a lot of conflicting things, and so in a way it's speculation, and in a way it's rumour, but also some of it might be confirmed, also some of it might be red herrings, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm going to kind of have to do kind of like a fake speculation, not necessarily what I think's going to happen, more maybe what I want to happen, and then there's some things that I don't know, so there are some things that I can maybe speculate on, but I'm going to have to be kind of very careful with what I mention in a way, and kind of keep things very open in the air. But as I say, I feel like really this year kind of no one knows what's happening for Scarefest. Like, you know, as I say, there's loads of conflicting things I've been hearing, so yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So the things we have confirmed for starters are that Altonville, that's definitely coming back because there is construction, luckily, and I think we knew it would be coming back. Like the fact that they put in all that investment last year for Tiny's Revenge, I'd be shocked if that wasn't there for like this year or maybe next year, like kind of like a 3-year stint, maybe even up to 5. I could see it lasting for that long, because it's funny that, you know, people didn't really like that the original Altonville stayed around for so long, but technically if we include the original Altonville and Tiny's Revenge as one maze, technically this year would be its 9th year, but Terror of the Towers What Lies Within, that went for 9 years as well, and no one really complained about that, and that kind of had like a refresh in the middle of it too. So yeah, to be honest, it's kind of now on level with the What Lies Within as like the longest running maze, but technically it is kind of like a different version of it, so I would count it as like a different version. Like if we're counting Terror of the Towers and Terror of the Towers Bloodfest Banquet and Terror of the Towers What Lies Within and the Attic as all separate ones, I think we can count the original Altonville and Tiny's Revenge as two separate things, and they feel very separate even though it's the same layout and, you know, kind of the same general lore and stuff. They feel like completely different mazes, so yeah, I count them as two separate things. But yeah, so Tiny's Revenge returning, obviously I'll be very happy about that. I think Chloe's quite happy about that as well, because yeah, hopefully she'll be able to go back into it if she manages to go through the audition, which I'm sure she will. I believe she might be going this week as well for her audition, so good luck with that. Hopefully it all goes well. But yeah, I'm sure she'll smash it. Like, you know, she's brilliant in there, honestly. I mean, all the cast in there from last year were absolutely fantastic, but of course, bit of a soft spot for Chloe as well because of the amount of great interactions I had with her in there. But yeah, it's pretty much confirmed that that's coming back now. Everything was pretty much still set up as well. Like, you know, like all the kind of queue line theming had been moved to the side, so it was all there ready to be set up. I don't know about the like the caravan. I'm assuming that was maybe like trailered like round the sides, like where you go into like the mine entrance bit, maybe like towed up like the other way or something like that. But now the thing is, the kind of chainsaw finale bit's been put in place, and you can't see behind that, which means the caravan might have been put back in place, and we wouldn't know because they put like, I believe like 2 fences, kind of like a double fence threat in place, which means that you really can't get down to that area too much. Luckily, you can get like up to the area, but you can't actually go into it or really see what's going on in there. I'm assuming not too much will have been changed from last year, maybe a few little tweaks and stuff, but I don't really think it needs changing, to be honest. I think, you know, it's a really great maze. I think try and get some of the lighting up a little bit and stuff like that, but yeah, apart from that, I think it's a pretty good attraction. I think also in the pre-show as well, when I went into the pre-show for the first time, they managed to get the lighting really good, where once the lights go out at the end of the pre-show, spoilers by the way for Tiny's Revenge, but once the lights go out at the end of the pre-show, it was completely pitch black, which means that when Tiny comes in at that point, and he was literally standing right in front of me, I remember I was with Daryl as well, and he was literally the only other person with me, and just having Tiny just appear right in front of you, really good. But on other runs that I'd had, there was a bit of light bleed into the kind of like crime scene tent, which means it was a little bit, you know, you could see like Tiny come in, so it wasn't as great on that. But yeah, you know, I think they all did a great job in there. Can't wait to see it come back. I love Altonville. Although this year, the Skin Snatcher will be no more. He has now been retired. I mean, my Skin Snatcher, of course, not the actual Alton Towers ones. Yeah, that character is being retired. Maybe he'll come back one day, who knows. But yeah, I've got a new character that I will be working on. I believe testing may be starting this month. So yeah, you'll have to look out for that. Hopefully you'll all be excited for that. I think it's probably going to be the best costume that I've ever done. Hopefully, you know, getting it kind of like properly made as well. One of my mum's work friends is going to be working on like the main kind of base costume, so it's going to hopefully look really good, and the makeup's going to be really intense on it, so yeah, you can all look forward to that. Anyway, back onto the speculation for Scarefest. So the other things that we know for sure is that there's going to be something in the dungeons. That's like the biggest one that we know. It was announced earlier in the year that the dungeons would be closing over the summer. Unfortunately, I missed out on that last dungeons thing because I got confused with the website. Turns out it closed on the 2nd, not the 3rd of July, I think. It's hard to remember now. Luckily, I did go on the 3rd because then they'd put up the kind of Scarefest like tease thing on the sign and things, and like all the green fencing, so you know that was really good to see, and you know, going to be one of the first people to see it as well. That was exciting. Also got to do the heritage tour that day as well, so that was great. Probably talk about that more in a Minecraft video, but yeah, so something will be going into the dungeons. Speculation on that, it could possibly be something actually like a dungeons theme, so I'm thinking possibly take the Molly Lee storyline and maybe put it across the entire dungeon and make it a scare maze rather than just that one final scene. I think because it's like the scariest element of the dungeon, I think that'd be a really good one to focus on. I'm hoping to God that they can use the boat ride with it. That would be great. I know there is an issue of like, if you have actors, there's kind of two problems with that. There's like, one, is it safe for the actors to kind of be on the side bits where like all the theming is? Might not be, you know, with the water and stuff. And then there's also almost kind of like a no scares on the stairs rule. There might be an issue with like no scares in the boat, essentially. So, you know, if there's someone who jump scares you while you're in a boat, you might accidentally rock the boat and then that could cause it to tip. So it's whether they could deal with that. I'm not sure. It would be great if they could have something like that, though. Just like imagine it being pitch black and so the lights turn on, then there's an actor right there. That would be so cool. And to give it a very kind of haunting vibe again, I think like if you had that Molly Lee storyline going all the way through, that would be really brilliant. Now, another thing is with Trick or Treat Town, which I wouldn't mind if it didn't come back, to be honest. Like, unless they're making a big change, I don't really mind it not coming back. But if it doesn't come back, I feel like that they could use that area of the building as well, meaning that it could be one massive attraction, which would be brilliant. And I was thinking as well, the kind of like the exit corridor in a way, almost like a run out exit bit, you could have as where the Trick or Treat Town queue line was, like this kind of like purple wooden structure. You could run out of that bit quite easily and like have some like actors like jump scaring you and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of like the option of if it's going to be a dungeon themed attraction. I'm thinking it might be something sort of gothic as well anyway. Like, I don't think it's going to be like they're going to put like subspecies in there or something along that theme line, like, or survival games. I don't think it's going to be like something really gritty, extreme gruff, you know. I think it's going to be something kind of based gothic wise, because it's kind of in that area of the towers, dark forest, obviously with where the dungeons is. So unless if it's going to be like a gangster granny scare maze, which I mean that could be scary too, no, I think it's going to be something kind of in that kind of gothic kind of historical theme, which kind of leads to the other option, which is that with Hex, which we haven't had an announcement for yet, but I believe in the kind of recent video that Bianca did, she said autumn possibly. And I mean, a perfect time would be Scarefest to open it. So I'm thinking possibly they open Hex at the start of Scarefest. What if they have a maze that's based on Hex, or like kind of the story of the witch? And that kind of links in with Molly Lee, because she's obviously like the witch of Burslem. You've then got, you know, the witch from Hex, who, you know, that could be a really good storyline too. I think that could be a really good idea, really cool idea, or maybe have some like, I don't know, some tree monsters or whatever. But that also leads to another scare maze site that we know is confirmed. I've been hearing rumours about that maybe it's not going to get done on time and stuff. I feel like construction started and they're still working on it. I feel like they would have stopped that construction if they weren't going to do it. Like, I don't think they would continue through with the construction and demolish it all. And also, I feel like they would have budgeted it out and stuff to know that they definitely have like enough to do it. One thing that I could understand is if they don't have enough cast, because I believe they're trying to book on like a load of actors this year and hire a load of actors, but you know, it depends if they can meet that demand. So that could maybe be a reason why an extra maze might not be a possibility. But I don't think they'd be continuing with the construction now if they knew that it wasn't going to be possible to complete. So I feel like there is going to be something in the Darkest Depths site. But what we do know from the plans is that it's going to be very similar to what's behind Curse Alton Manor right now, which is a survival game structure. So like a massive kind of storage hangar thing with storage containers at the side, which we know is going to be a scare maze structure. I think even on the plans it says scare mazes. So there's one that's already been built at behind Curse Alton Manor, but there's also one that's sort of like the foundations are going in at Darkest Depths. So I'm thinking maybe that one could be kind of like a Hex theme maze. That could be interesting. I feel like if you were to do like kind of a Molly Lee one and a witch one from Hex as two separate ones, that would be a bit weird to do both of them. I think that'd be a bit of a weird choice, like to have two witch ones, like two possessed witch ones. That'd be a bit of a weird decision, unless if you try and like link the storyline somehow, maybe that's a possibility. But yeah, to have them so close to each other as on have very similar storylines, it would be a bit weird. So yeah, who knows what we're going to get in those in regards to theming. But I think Hex, either like a Dungeons storyline one that's a scare maze, or a Hex one in there in one of those areas, I think that would be a brilliant idea. Then speaking of, there's the construction behind Curse Alton Manor. Now, there's been speculation, I've heard speculation of a Curse Alton Manor themed maze, or I've heard speculation of possibly like a phalanx theme maze. This could also go into the idea that with Panic originally, the theming, we were told by Chris Carter at Scare Mazing last year, that the theming was either going to be something Ministry of Joy or like a phalanx training compound. So maybe this could be that phalanx idea taken on into a new space. Now, what I'm hoping with these constructions is that they aren't free roam. Like, don't get me wrong, I get the idea of free roam. I'd love a free roam maze to work, but they never do. Like, they never work well. It's just, the problem is you'd have to like cram it full of actors, which to be fair, they are, to my knowledge, hiring on a lot of actors this year, which means that, yeah, you know, they might have enough actors to do it, but I feel like you need to cram it with loads of actors and make it have a really good layout, and a kind of like a layout where you can be turned around in circles and stuff. I think a big problem with survival games as well was it was very samey. Like, at least with Subspecies, it had specific rooms and areas. So you had like the blackout section, you had the crawl tunnels, you had the I believe there was kind of like a like an animal cage room and stuff like that. You had like specific rooms. While in survival games, you didn't really. It was all kind of very samey corridors with little bits of theming here and there, but no like specific kind of themed areas. I think there was maybe like a toilet block or something like that with like some toilet stalls, but that's all I really remember in regards to the areas. There weren't like specific like areas with like, you know, what would have functions in the storyline in a way, which again kind of takes me out of that immersion a little bit. Kind of having that kind of variety in there, but also being able to have actors that can send you around in circles, which means you're not out in 2 minutes like I was in survival games a lot of the time. And even with survival games, I was only in there, like the longest I was in there was for like 5 minutes, which is like the average run of a maze. Like, the point of having a free roam maze is you can you know, you can be in there for a really long time. You know, the good thing about Panic is you can be in there for a full 7 minutes, but like with Subspecies, I remember we had a run that was like maybe 10-15 minutes. That's at my first ever Scare Mazing. So yeah, I mean, that's the advantage of having a free roam maze, but the problem is they rarely ever work. So, you know, unless they can find a way to get it to work well, either stuffing it full of actors or, I don't know, just trying to figure out a different way, I'd prefer them not to be free roam. I prefer they use that massive space, similar to what they did with Stitches, because I believe the actual size of Stitches is kind of like, you know, not necessarily like the height and stuff, but kind of the size of the layout was actually bigger than Survival Games, I believe. Like, I think Survival Games was the kind of the most expensive maze that Thorpe Park had ever done, but Stitches was the largest kind of space that they'd used. And for that, for a linear maze, it was really cool. You could have these really big areas, like there was like a workshop area where there's like a load of sewing machines and stuff, and like a stairway that went up to like a balcony. That was a really cool, like, massive space that was used, and, you know, a massive variety of rooms and areas and stuff. Like, if you could use that whole hangar and do it as a linear maze and make it really tight corners and stuff in some areas, like, that'd be really cool. Like, you know, that'd be great. Could be curse themed, could be phalanx themed. Out of the two, I would prefer, obviously, a Curse Alton Manor Maze. It is my beloved, of course. Love it. I do, obviously, like Nemesis Reborn. I think the Phalanx are cool. And I think, yeah, Phalanx theme maze could be pretty cool. I would prefer it not to be specifically like the Nemesis creature, like, because the Phalanx, they deal with other things. It's like with Project 42. I believe the virus in that might have like originated from the Nemesis creature or the Nemesis eggs. I can't remember exactly, but like in like the videos for like Subterra, it's like they show the Phalanx doing things across the world. Like, why can't it be like a different kind of creature or threat in the way that the Phalanx are dealing with? That'd be cool. But yeah, obviously I'd prefer something Curse Alton Manor, of course. That'd be great to have a maze with that. That would be just fantastic. Kind of a continuation of that storyline, a load of like creepy dolls and stuff. Speaking of that as well, that kind of brings into question the attic. Which, when I went onto the Heritage Tour, there was a little bit of it still set up. There was the kind of like the bit before the pre-show that you kind of like, the kind of holding area before, like between the queue line and the pre-show, which was still set up, which I got to film in, which was really fun. With the attic, from what I've been hearing, I believe I said this maybe like in the 100 subscribers video, is that I believe there's issues with kind of like the heritage of the towers. Like, they're either getting more strict on the heritage or there's safety issues. I think it's more with the heritage though, in those upper levels of the towers, which is really why I feel like they're kind of moving mazes out of the towers and making these kind of permanent constructions, meaning that they don't have to rely on the towers anymore for those mazes. Don't get me wrong, the towers is a cool area to have mazes, but if there are these heritage issues and stuff, then yeah, I can understand why they're wanting to do that. So I don't think the attic will be coming back. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that it will be coming back and stuff, but I don't think it will be, and I don't really think it should, to be honest. Like, unless if they've done like what they did with What Lies Within, like kind of a big reroute, or like a slight storyline change, or new rooms, new scenes, or even like a complete relocation to a different part of the towers. I don't really think there's a point in bringing it back. It's become probably the most stale thing on the lineup, so yeah, I don't really think it should be brought back. And it means that if you did have a Curse at Alton Manor theme maze behind Curse at Alton Manor, then that means that that kind of fills in that gap on the lineup where it's kind of like the creepy dolls and antiques and stuff like that. That kind of theming would work well there. Or if you did have something with like a witch or something, that kind of fills in that kind of gothic theme maze as well. So yeah, I just don't really see the need for the attic on the lineup this year, really. And then obviously with this construction being in the Darkest Depths area, suggests that Darkest Depths has gone as well. I don't think it would be that they're just like creating the new construction, then they're going to put Darkest Depths back into it, especially since they literally like demolished the entire kind of like Smugglers Inn facade outside, which made me really sad when I was seeing that being deconstructed, because it was like, yeah, you know, it's just like, why can't you keep these props? I'd take them off you. Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be a new maze there. And I think it makes sense for Darkest Depths and the attic. You know, they've been there for 5 years now, it would have been, I think. Let's just count that. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Yeah, 5 years. I can count. So, yeah, you know, 5 years is a good stint. It's more than the Sanctuary got. So, yeah, I think time for them both to go. Then there's Panic, which we haven't really seen any confirmation of, but from what I understand, I think it's similar with The Invitation, where I believe there was a contract that was kind of signed on for it to be there for a certain amount of time. So I imagine that Panic's going to return. Also, it was very popular last year, so I really don't see why it wouldn't return. I think when I looked, when I last went to Towers, it wasn't set up inside the hospitality suite. I could see through the windows and there was like tables and stuff out, so I'm assuming it's not set up. Although I'd imagine, apart from the technology, like, there isn't really much to set up anyway, because there's not much theming in there. I mean, I'm really hoping that they put in some more theming in there this year. Or maybe just go for their original proposed Ministry of Joy idea. I think that would have been a good idea, because you already have a load of Ministry of Joy characters, you have a load of props from things like the Smiler Takeover. Like, just make it Ministry of Joy. We've all been wanting a Ministry of Joy maze for years, like everyone wanting the Sanctuary to be back. Like, that would be a good alternative, I feel like, and I think like it would actually make it more themed and have a better storyline. Don't get me wrong, I think the storyline for Daz Games Panic's fine, but it's not the most interesting, to be honest, and the theming is just incredibly lackluster in there. I feel like on the first couple of runs it was like cool just to have that free roaming and the actors getting right up close to you and touching you and stuff, but after a while I was just like strolling around, because it's like I found my symbols, but it's like I wanted to stay in the maze, but I was just like strolling around for most of it, because it's like you kind of get used to the route quite easy, or not necessarily the route, but you kind of like recognize areas and stuff. And yeah, they probably didn't have like enough actors to cover the entire area, so there were just points where I was just like strolling around and stuff, to be honest. Yeah, while I feel like if you had like a Ministry of Joy one with like more themed areas, kind of like I mentioned with Subspecies, where there's actually kind of specific areas which have a specific function and theming, I just think that would make it so much better. But yeah, I could see Panic coming back. So that would be, let's see, so we would have Altonville, Panic, and then kind of the 3 new ones. That would be 5 attractions on the lineup. But then also when I was queuing up for Wicker Man, I think either on the, I think it might have been the last visit, I saw that there was some burial grounds stuff that had been set back up. I think it was like the there's like a cage near the end where there's like a pig character, one of the actual good masks, not just one of the ones off Wish. And then there's kind of like the smoke tunnel bit, which they definitely need to put some actors in that last bit, because yeah, it feels very bare in that. I feel that's the thing with burial grounds. There's kind of a lot of areas that feel quite bare in a way, and then a lot of the costumes as well are very basic compared to what we saw in like the trailer. So yeah, I imagine burial grounds is coming back. It was pretty successful last year. It's good to have that free thing on the lineup as well for people to do. It's in a pretty good area. And as I say, I saw that there were kind of some of the structures set up, and even being on Wicker Man, I could see there was a load of bits that had been set up for it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's coming back. Could we get some more scare zones? I wouldn't mind that. It'd be really cool to, yeah, have something similar to like, again, one of those kind of linear scare zones rather than an area one, so kind of like a zombie scare zone or like a burial grounds where we walk from one end to the other, rather than what Thorpe have done a lot of the time, where it's like an area, so like Creep Freaks Unchained, Swarm Invasion, where it's kind of like you go into an area, kind of more like a meet and greet. But yeah, you know, it'd be cool to see another scare zone. I think it's just the problem where you do it is the issue, because they always have an issue of like they don't want to do it where the public is, because otherwise the public can pain, even though they're going to a scare event, so you're gonna get scared. Like, don't go to Alton Towers during Halloween if you don't want to get scared. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of the main stuff that we're gonna get. I don't really think there'll be any other surprises. I think it's the main three brand new attractions. Like, that is a lot, plus maybe a scare zone on top of that, like an extra one. That would be brilliant. Like, and considering last year I think was already a step up, I think this is even more of a step up this year from what we're seeming to see. In regards to other stuff, it would be lovely to see some more park-wide theming. That would be nice. I remember the days, not when I was at the park, but like I've seen like on like photos and stuff, when like you'd have like skeletons on like Oblivion's Drop and like in the Congo River Rapids boats and stuff like that. I think they used to have like a skeleton that was at one of the Sky Ride stations as well. Like, just more of that kind of across the park, like instead of it just being around the towers and, you know, like just, like, I mean, last year at Curse Ultima they had like a couple more roaming actors, so that was nice, but a bit more kind of like, so it feels like no matter where you are on park, it feels like Halloween. Like, that'd be cool. Obviously more roaming actors as well would be lovely, more roaming teams. I remember like in 2021 they had a couple of roaming characters from each maze. That was really cool. I mean, they're going to be bringing in more actors this year. Hopefully they could get some more roaming characters. And I keep seeing on my screen at the moment, because I'm still on the Scarefest website, the Alton Ancestors. I imagine they'll be coming back this year. I don't really have a problem with them coming back. I think still feel pretty fresh. They do a new kind of dance routine every year, I think. Yeah, bring them back. Have maybe like a couple more characters with that, a couple of different characters. Hopefully still do their stage show one at the end as well, at the end of the day, like the Final Haunt, I think it's called. Like, that's one of the... it's certainly one of the best shows that I've seen at Towers. That it's just so good with like all the lighting and stuff. It's great. In regards to the shows though, it would be nice to see like a couple of new ones. I think with like the Freaky Five, for example, I've always thought of an idea if they wanted to, because at the moment they've kind of kept the Gretel storyline for a while, where she kind of like is introduced to the group. They've kept that one for a while now. Yeah, she's been like part of the, I think it's been like for almost like half a decade that she's been part of the group, so it's like, yeah, it's a bit weird that they're still going with that storyline. I've always thought like a really good storyline for it be that they get like a pet or something, like they get like a pet bat or like a pet creature that they have to look after during the show. I think that'll be cool. Like, that'll be a really cool kid-friendly idea. I think with Sin Bin, maybe like a re-theme of that, maybe making me feel a little bit less unclean while watching it, because yeah, it makes me kind of shocked that it's at a family park, let's just say that. But the thing that I would love most with one of the shows is if they could do something like Birthday Bash at Thorpe Park Fright Nights. Like, it's genuinely, I think, the best. I mean, obviously I haven't been to many theme parks and stuff, but it's genuinely the best show I've ever seen at a theme park. It's just, I love how it goes kind of with a twisted dark comedy in a way, but it also has interaction on stage and off, and it acts as like a scare zone and a stage show. I just love that. You might not necessarily be able to do it as a scare zone. I mean, I guess you could do it as a scare zone between shows. Like, you could just have like some of the actors roaming around like the tables and stuff on the lawns. You could do that. I think just something where there's like that kind of dark, morbid twists of, like, I know they can't usually go as dark as Thorpe Park can, but I feel like just having that kind of twisted humor and having that interaction on and off stage really brings in that immersion, like a great like variety of characters and stuff. Because I think that's like the problem with Sin Bin, is they don't really have many like proper characters. They have like kind of like a devil character and stuff, but yeah, it's very kind of on the surface. And I remember I briefly went to like Lucifer's Lair last year, and it felt very much like a bit more of a themed Sin Bin in a way, like basically where they just made them all devils and stuff. It seemed fine, to be honest. But yeah, it would be nice to have like a really good like character-led show like that, that's not necessarily for kids, a little bit more, not like too adults, but you know, like a little bit more on the nose, a little bit more risky in a way, a little bit more, as I say, that twisted dark humor. I think that would really work well for a show. Or maybe even some shows that kind of link to the scare mazes, you know, maybe have like a, you know, obviously I'd kind of pictured Altonville one where you have like the Skin Snatchers come on or something. Or like one thing that I've been thinking of as well is not necessarily a show, but like from back in the day when they used to do like the Carnival Screams clown breakouts. I've always thought a really good one would be with the Skin Snatchers, where like the Knox family break out of prison and they have a bunch of police officers having to like take them back into custody, which means it would be a great use of like the original costumes and bring back the original family as well. That'd be fantastic if they could do that. That'd be really awesome. And yeah, it'd be just a really cool roaming team as well, because they already had some Altonville kind of roamers, but not really something like with the Skin Snatchers, more something just with like a couple of the other family members who would go out of the mines. And then of course one thing that I forgot to mention is the invitation not coming back. I can guarantee you that's not going to be coming back. I can't remember whether it was like a 2 or 3 year contract, but I'm pretty sure even if it was a 3-year contract, they would have found a way to get out of that, because it's been very unsuccessful. They did try last year to try and bring in some more, you know, some more things. They added like a little ending section to it where you walked out and there was like a vampire character who jumped out. I believe there was like a grey mask that they used for that, and I believe that used to be used in the attic, like in the final hell section. Like I think it was in 2019. I remember, I think it was that I was looking at the devil and then I turned around and he was just right in my face, this kind of like grey mask character. It looked like a very similar mask to that. There was some kind of like drop walls and stuff like that where like the vampire character could jump out, but yeah, it wasn't much of an improvement, unfortunately. So yeah, I feel like unless they were going to make it, I think the invitation works as a good finale for a maze, but I feel like they needed a maze alongside that. You could have put one in like the games bunker, would have worked great. So I feel that's kind of all my speculation for Scarefest. I can't really confirm or deny any of the rumours that I've heard and stuff, but that's kind of like my speculation of what I'd want. Obviously, as I say, Altonville coming back, assume Panic's going to come back. I think a Dungeons themed attraction would, I think if you got that attraction there, I feel like, you know, making a storyline themed around that, but which goes a lot scarier and is a scare attraction where kind of like you walk through like a scare maze. And I think using kind of like the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory elevator bits where Trick or Treat Town is now, I think that would be a brilliant idea as well. Make it one massive attraction. I would also like the dungeons to return after Scarefest as well, because I've never really had a bad run through that dungeons as well, so I do like them a lot. Or the other option is make it a year-round scare attraction. I'd be more than happy for that as well. And then obviously there's a construction at the Darkest Depth site. Could be possibly Hex themed, because maybe they might bring Hex back in October for Scarefest. That'd be cool. I think it's a spooky ride. Bring it back during spooky season. And then there's another one of those constructions around the back of Curse. Could be Curse Alton Manor themed. Could be Phalanx themed. Could be something else completely. I don't know. And then Burial Grounds seems to be confirmed to be coming back from some of the construction I've seen, and I don't think the Attic and Darkest Depths will be returning. I'll eat my hat, which I don't have, if the Attic returns. Like, I just don't think it should, really, and I feel like if there was an issue with them having the Attic there, I don't think that they could, because I think I've been hearing like kind of rumour that the reason why they can't bring the Attic back is because this Darkest Depths one can't be done on time, but it's like, if there was a problem with them having the Attic there, just because they can't do another maze doesn't mean they can just keep the Attic there. They would still have to take it down, unless if it's going to be relocated. But I just think, rip the Attic, it's gone. Just do something new, please. So yeah, that's all for my Scarefest speculation. It is very possible that before this gets edited and uploaded, there will be an announcement from Towers. Or I bet you as soon as I click that upload button and it's been uploaded, Towers will announce something and then I'll have to do another video. But yeah, if there is anything else, I'll put it on at the end now. No? Nothing else? Okay. So yeah, that'll be the end of the video here. So next video on the channel will hopefully be a Minecraft one, because as I say, I feel like there's a lot that I need to update on. Then I'll be going to, there's like the Drayton Manor attraction source event, which I'll be going to. I haven't been to Drayton Manor in ages, so that'll be fun to socialise with people. And then more socialising at the Summer Festival as well, which I'll be going to. Managed to get tickets for both of them, so yeah, that'll be fun. I'll try not to get depressed on those. And then after, like, you know, Minecraft and stuff, I'll try and get back onto Walton Files, back onto Power Wash Simulator and stuff, just try and keep doing them. Obviously, if there's any Scarefest things, I'll try and react to them. As I said, I won't be really reacting too much to Fright Night stuff. I might do that in kind of the Minecraft Power Wash Simulator ones, add it as like a little topic, but I won't be doing like official reactions to them, just because I won't be going, but also, yeah, I still kind of haven't got over what Thorpe did to me last year. Never forgive, never forget. So yeah, that probably won't be happening. But anyways, I guess until Minecraft Take 2, I will see you next time. Bye.